With me today from the El Toro Water District is Fred Ajarian. It's always good to see you and have you back again.
Always a pleasure.
You're sort of our overview of state water systems guy.
Yes, thank you. I am. Today we're going to talk about a big project that's extremely important for Southern California. I know I've focused on infrastructure in the past, but this is by far the biggest project for Southern California and for the state, actually. It's called the California WaterFix. Why is WaterFix so important? People might ask. 30% of the water that we use here in Southern California flows through the delta. That's that sort of convoluted area of it's an estuarine area, about 300,000 acres of estuary that is very sensitive, but also we rely upon that for our water. The infrastructure that the state has constructed over the years, a good example is the State Water Project that was built under Pat Brown, Jerry Brown's father, back in the 50s and 60s. That's aging and not aging well, unlike fine wine. And also the ecosystems within this delta area, the fisheries, the habitat, they are deteriorating from ongoing agricultural operations, as you see in the picture here. This has long been an area for agriculture. Also, a lot of shipping comes in through San Francisco Bay and will come up as far north as Stockton. And so they discharge a lot of waste. So that it has impacted in an adverse way the ecosystem. The project itself, State Water Project, cannot capture and store surplus water. This is, I guess, an anticipation of climate change, which will happen. And so we're hoping that with the construction of this new water fix, we can take advantage of those surplus winter rains when they come and then put them to the parts of the system that need it in an efficient manner.
And that's something that I know we have talked about.
Yes.
Along with the other folks on the board. That it's something that we get, every 5 years or whatever, we get these tremendous rains and people go, where's all this excess water going?
Exactly.
Is there a way to put these in giant holding tanks or reservoirs or whatever it might be?
Exactly.
And it looks like they're beginning to look at this and how to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My last presentation the other month talked about those off-stream storage projects that were approved by the Water Commission.
Yeah.
So those big storage holding areas, as you described them, are exactly for that purpose, to capture more of that runoff, that excess surplus runoff. In addition, with WaterFix here, we're also looking to ensure a more reliable supply for really the entire state. 27 million Californians, 3 million acres of farmland in the Central Valley, which is the breadbasket of the United States.
Right.
So extremely important project. Maybe if we could move to the next slide here. So these are just a few of the risks that I mentioned previously. We have the seismic risks, the Bay Delta area starting, as you see the entrance into San Francisco Bay. Yeah. It's just fractured, if you will, by many faults, including the San Andreas fault, which created the 1906 San Francisco quake.
Right.
Sea level rise, this is a continuing concern as the climate patterns change, water levels rise. The projects that we build from this point forward, starting with WaterFix, will need to be designed to take that into account and to hopefully accommodate and capture some of that excess surplus.
Okay.
The fisheries, this is the lovely little delta smelt, probably no bigger than this size of my finger here. This has caused the pumps, the big pumps at the south end of the delta, to be stopped in order that this fish would not get entrained and ground up in the pump system. Supposedly it's an important fish. It is an important fish. I don't mean to diminish it, but it makes it difficult to ensure reliable supply for all of our...
And that's something they're looking at as well.
And they're looking at as well. And finally, the subsidence issues. The delta is a series of little islands that were constructed back during the gold rush era. Many of those islands have subsided, as you see in this picture. Some as far down, starting from the edge of the water on the right, as far down as 30 feet. So this project will get around by tunneling under the delta, 150 feet below, with 40-foot diameter pipes, and will tap water from the upper Sacramento River and then funnel that water without disturbing the habitat, the islands, hopefully avoiding the nearest fault, and also not being susceptible to sea level rise. So it's a very well-designed project. Maybe if we could go to the next slide here. So here's just a quick overview of the project itself. As we said, it supplies water supplies for the entire state of California. 2 tunnels, 40-foot diameter tunnels, which are going to be built in a very environmentally sensitive way. This project has been 11 years under study. We've spent over $200 million to ensure that those impacts are minimized. And it will be financed by investments from water agencies. No state tax, no bond. I mean, yes, there will be bond money, but no additional state tax to fund the construction of these projects. On the habitat side, it improves the health for the habitat for fish and wildlife, restores over 30,000 acres in the first 5 years. In fact, there's work underway right now. And it is also, those projects are being supported by funding from various environmental groups as well.
So it's really a project where everybody is working together.
Everybody is working together, and that's why it took so long, 11 years, to bring all of these different groups, environmental groups as well as public agencies together.
Let's look at the next slide, and this is, I like this one because this really shows a map of the system.
Exactly. So up in the north end, you see the Sacramento River. There are 3 intakes on this proposed project that basically will tap the river at these 3 different points, well up above the main delta, and then funnel that water through that green line. That's would represent the path of the 2 tunnels.
Now, I'm looking at this. This is probably, I don't know, what, 40 miles maybe?
Between 35 and 40 miles.
Okay,
yes.
all right.
No, good guess, Ken. And there's a west tunnel and an east tunnel, so that depending on flows, this system can be operated to take advantage mainly when there are surplus flows during those years that we've talked about in the past, where we have those surplus rains, and then funneling that water south to the Clifton Court forebay. There will be a new forebay built just up above and to the left, where it says West Pumping Plant, to store that water that's captured that flows through the tunnels, and then it will be pumped into where it says below CVP pumps, State Water Project pumps, into the State Water Project aqueduct. That's the California aqueduct, or the Governor Edmund G. Brown Sr. aqueduct that we see when we drive up I-5. So about 16 to 18 years to construct at a cost with inflation of about $19.9 billion.
Okay.
That's actually inexpensive. In fact, if we could go to the next slide.
So 19, or they could just call, Apple, and they could just open their, their petty cash, and here you go, and we're done.
Exactly. Wouldn't that be nice if we could get
Apple and Google, here you go. We found this lying on the floor.
That would be wonderful to get private investment from those big companies.
In one way, I'm serious about that, to get private investors in something like this.
Oh, absolutely, because they benefit from our Southern California's $1 trillion and Northern California's $1 trillion economy. So a $2 trillion economy, of which Apple and Google are very much an important part of.
Right. So that's not a bad,
So the top reasons for the project: ensures a reliable supply, supports local storage, so it provides extra storage, which we can always use in this state, especially during earthquakes. It protects Orange County's investments in water infrastructure by allowing us to, instead of having to plan for new projects sooner, this project will allow us to, give us some time and therefore we won't need as many new projects coming up as soon as had been originally anticipated. It preserves jobs. This project is, when it gets started, in about 4 years actual construction, it's supposed to generate somewhere between 150 to 350,000 new jobs. That's construction jobs and related jobs associated with this project, and provide an economic benefit of nearly $4 billion to the state. So this is a win-win project for everyone concerned. And lastly, it will help the state prepare for droughts by wheeling water more efficiently, and also for emergencies like earthquakes, fire.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go on to the next one, the projected cost. And you did talk about this.
Yeah.
But what people want to know is the impact when it gets down to my water bill level.
Right. So
that's always the thing.
Absolutely, Ken. The calculated cost per person using the information that was generated out of that study, the 11 years worth of study, is that about $4.80 per month per person is what the additional... Are you
talking about per person or per individual water bill?
Per individual water bill.
Okay,
so
like household. I mean, it's
per
different
household,
here.
Sorry,
okay.
Per household.
And this is how this whole project will be funded. Is this what you're saying?
The project
or
itself, a good portion of it will be funded by
by this extra
dollars that
right.
are being obtained both from the bonds that the public voted on, also from some federal funding too that they're soliciting. But the actual cost on a per household basis is $4.80 a month.
Yeah.
Now that is this project compared with desal. I've always had questions asked, Fred, what about desal? What about just straight conservation? Right. We really don't need to be spending $19.9 billion for this project. Actually, when you compare, this project is the least expensive, the Cal WaterFix.
You know, it really is. I mean, it may sound expensive, but in today's dollars, considering what other huge projects might be going on in the state, the rail and all this,
exactly.
This is
a bargain.
It is. It seriously is.
And compared to desal, where those costs are continuing to rise,
right.
And also straight conservation, this project is very, very important for us. So, and then so that's it for Cal WaterFix. I just have one last slide, Ken.
Yeah, and this is just talking about your Appreciation Week, and I remember talking about this last year.
Right. A year ago, the state, through the Association of California Water Agencies, initiated this Water Professionals Appreciation Week, and it's basically to highlight, the role that water professionals like our staff at El Toro and the other 6,000 plus individuals statewide perform in terms of their work ensuring a safe and reliable water supply of the highest quality at the lowest possible cost. Yeah. So our district is going to recognize this week through, we have our Citizens Advisory Committee meeting that's coming up in November, to which all Laguna Woods customers are invited. And also we have information on our website that features more details about what's being done, to celebrate this service provided by our water professionals. So,
well, thank you and all the folks who work at the Water District and
appreciate that.
All water districts.
And thank you so much.
Yeah, this is great information. I appreciate this.
Thank you.
It's a great project. Yes, it'll take several years, but now it's finally coming to fruition, and
it is.
In the long run, it's going to be great.
It's going to be beneficial for all of us. So,
very
appreciate
good.
the opportunity. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
And we'll be right back.